Okay, so let's say I have a little bit more complicated data. Remember I said that everything stores as a string. So what happens when I try and store my data? So if I go to local storage and I set an item, and we'll call it my data, and I'll store this object that I've created. If I save that and I come over to the running site and I look at my application, I can see, oh, I need to reload the page. Oh, my live server's not running. It'd help if I ran that. Okay. So if we come over to our page and we inspect it and we look at the application in local storage, you can see that my data is storing object. Well, that is not very helpful. What it did is it tried to take our object and convert it into a string. It didn't know how to do that, so it just said, okay, it's an object. Let's just store the text object. The problem is when we try and convert this back, we can't convert it back into the object. We have lost all of our information. So if we want to store our object, we first have to convert it to a string ourselves. So to do that, what we can do is we can use the JSON tool. So we'll say JSON.stringify. And then we give it the information. What this does is it takes our information and turns this into a string that we can access. So I could say let my value equal JSON.stringify, and then here we'll set my data equal to my value. Now, if we come over, you can see that it put in text the curly braces, and then the keys, and then the values, and it's all there in an object. Well, that's great. Now we can get it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the console, and I'm going to say local storage.get item, and the item I want to get is my data. And you can see it comes back as a string. Because it's a string, I cannot access it like an object. So I cannot say let my new value equal local storage.get item my data. I cannot say my new value.name, because if I do, it's undefined, because a string doesn't have a property called .name. If we want to get this back out and turn it back into an object, then we have to use the JSON tool again. So coming back over here, let's say I wanted to get it out. I could say console.log, and then I'll use the JSON tool, and then I'll say .parse. Parse takes in a JSON string and converts it into an object. So we can say go to local storage and get an item out. The item that we want to get is my data, and then we want to parse it and log it. So now if we come over, we can see that it logs out an object, and we can then access the attributes of this object just like we would expect.